Hello, and
happening.
now we
Hi.
are here. So good to see you. Happy Friday. Hey, Jesse. Hey, Marty. Hey, Alex. Hey, Christine from the sovereign nation of Canada, as
Woo.
is Marty. Do you guys know each other? You're both from Canada. Good to see you. Hi, Victor. Hi, JD. Hi, Matt. Good to see our friends. Hi, South Facing Lad, one of our new channel members. Someone during the Oscar live stream gifted a whole bunch of channel memberships to people. So we've got a whole
Oh,
bunch of new channel members now.
that's so
So good.
sweet. Thank you.
So sweet. Matt says, Christy, you were right about Mickey 17. Ruined my whole day yesterday. LOL. Well, Matt, Alonzo and I have very different feelings about Mickey 17, which you will see very soon when
Yes,
our
later today.
review goes out. Real fast, how are our levels? How do we look? How do we sound?
Yeah, what's the
We're
deal?
constantly tinkering. Yes, Sammy says, I love Mickey 17. Yeah, that is the big movie of the weekend. Bong Joon Ho's follow up to Parasite.
Yep.
6 years later, a lot of expectation about that.
Oh my God, it has been 6 years, hasn't it? Woof.
Right, because he
We're just now
won.
hitting the 5th anniversary of the beginning of lockdown, if that, believe it or not.
Yeah, March 12th. That's coming. I was thinking about that. That's coming on Wednesday. Like I think
Yeah.
about that this time of year every year. Angel says, big shout out to Alonzo, who has survived another award season. Woohoo.
Thank you.
Nice. Oh, Victor says, I'm also Canadian and got a channel membership gift that night. Oh, good. Goes to show that being one of the nice guys pays off. Thank you to all of our friends
Thank
in
you.
Canada. Hello.
Yeah.
Jesse says, I love Bong Joon Ho. Haven't seen this new one. It has faint Okja vibes tonally. It's a lot like Okja
Yeah. A lot like
and
Oakjaw, a lot like
Snowpiercer.
Snowpiercer.
So if you like that mode, you'll be happy. Hello, Jonathan, Teddy, and Tanya. Okay, let's get started. A lot of folks were here for our Oscar follow-up reaction live stream on Monday. That was so great to have so many of you there. But other things have happened, since then. Apparently, Adrien Brody's speech is the longest Oscar acceptance speech ever.
Really longer than I thought. Greer Garson came in a little bit longer, but
It was 5 minutes and 40 seconds.
fascinating.
Yes.
People are single-handedly blaming him on the whole Hulu thing.
Oh, no, I don't think it's that
Yeah, it
fault.
goes beyond that.
Yes, and then the ratings, it's, 19.7 million people watched the Oscars on that night, and maybe because is that Hulu and people with normal televisions?
It would have to be. I'm sure they're counting the Hulu numbers because that's for a great many people who don't get cable anymore and don't necessarily have access to their local terrestrial TV. That's where they
Right.
watched it. I mean, it's like, people watched the Super Bowl on Tubi this year.
So interesting. Yeah, I guess it's just the way of the world now. Also with Adrien Brody, did you notice that when he tossed his gum to his girlfriend Georgina Chapman, that she did not catch it, and then it just sat in the carpet the rest of the night. Amazing.
And then somebody auctioned it off on eBay. No, I
Right.
don't know.
And then but as he bragged in his eternal acceptance speech, this is not my first rodeo. So you think though, since it's not his first rodeo, that he would know not to be chewing gum at the moment they're gonna do Best Actor.
Well, good luck next time you're nominated. I think people are going to remember this and not think well about it.
Yeah, I agree. Tracy asks, I wonder if they track international viewing. That's a good question. I don't know. Is that just in the US? Is it 19 million worldwide?
Oh, I would imagine they're talking about the US just because we're chauvinistic that way. I don't know. I mean, yeah, ostensibly there's billions of people around the world who at least have access to watch the Oscars. I don't really know what the numbers are there.
Yes, as all in the game says, so douchey. I agree. And hello to you, Chris Wright. Jeffrey Miller says, love the sweaters. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's cold in Los Angeles.
Yes.
It was 44 degrees this morning.
It's LA chilly.
To which I say,
I live in an old apartment building where oftentimes when it's cold like this, it's colder in the apartment than out.
Right. And that's actually true here as well. It's cold where I live. So this is what you tuned in for is our microclimates here in Los Angeles. Also, speaking of the Oscars, Anora will be streaming on Hulu starting March 17th.
Oh, cool. Okay.
We just learned that today. So if you have not yet seen Anora or you want to rewatch it post Oscars, and appreciate that performance, appreciate the editing, Sean Baker's editing, then you can
The
do all of that.
screenplay, the directing.
Everything, yes. Also, at some point today, it hasn't happened yet, but there's going to be an update on the Gene Hackman death investigation. I know they have ruled out some things. There was some conflicting information early on, in the fog of war and all that about
Right.
the dogs and like who
Yes.
was where. And the dog was actually in a crate, not in the closet. One sad thing that we have learned is it appears that they were dead for 9 days.
Yes. That I'd heard. Aye.
According to the pacemaker data, like it stopped sending information 9 days prior to them being discovered, and they were mummified. It's very sad. So the Santa Fe Sheriff's Office, which also investigated the Rust shooting, the Alec Baldwin shooting on the
Yeah.
set of Rust, which resulted in the death of cinematographer Helena Hutchins. That is the same group that is doing, the same group, same,
Force.
investigative organization that is
Yes.
investigating this death as well. So we will look into that. We will find out more about what happened to Gene Hackman and his wife.
So if you have a pacemaker and they're monitoring it at a distance and it stops, like they don't send somebody to your house? Like it's not like having, an alarm system that gets tripped?
That's a really good question. Like
Hmm.
one of those lifeline things,
Yeah.
like the clicker, like I've fallen and I can't get up or
Yeah,
whatever.
it just seems like "Beep," would like maybe, set off a siren somewhere, but I guess not.
That's a good question. Anyway, we'll learn more. It has not. I was hoping they would happen before we came and saw you guys, but it has not happened yet.
Yeah.
Hey there, Brent Lutholt. Fellow Ozian asks, have you both seen Mickey 17? Yes, we reviewed it before we came and saw you guys, and that will be out later on today. Anyway, so yes, that is coming out. It's a big movie of the week.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of the Oscars, Jesse Eisenberg has officially gotten his Polish citizenship.
Like
He
as an honorific, or did he apply for it?
No, he applied for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because as we know, he has ancestors. That's what Real Pain's about.
Right.
It's inspired by his family who fled Poland during the Holocaust, and so he is now a Polish citizen, which is nice.
Good on him. I just sent off my paperwork to try and get a Spanish passport. So
I que bueno.
yeah,
You and our friend Angel.
Exactly. I can have dual citizenship, and because my parents were both born in Spain, so why not?
I look forward to hearing about that as that goes along. Good for you. Thank you, Punk Ron, for your kind contribution. Punk Ron says, random question, but do you know if Joe Queenan's film that he made for his book, The Unkindest Cut, was ever released? I don't know anything about this.
I can answer that question. So yeah, Joe Queenan, who was a columnist for Movie Line magazine, very funny, decided to make a film that was even cheaper than El Mariachi in the 90s, because that movie had gotten so much press for being made for $7,000. So he set out to make an even cheaper one. And I'm forgetting now what it was called, but I screened it. At the USA Film Festival in Dallas. We were, if not the premiere, one of the first screenings of that film. And then I don't think he ever did anything with it. I think it still needed some post-production. It was pretty rough. But to my knowledge, I think he kind of made the movie as a stunt and then wrote a book about the stunt, but never really had any interest in getting the movie out to the world. So I might still have a VHS copy of it somewhere. But to my knowledge, yeah, outside of a few festival screenings, I don't think anything ever happened to it. But it's a funny book, and I'm in it.
You're in it. Why are you in it?
Because the screening in Dallas is part of the story of the movie. So
that's so funny. Well, good.
Yeah.
We'll have to keep an eye out for that. On the Game asks, are y'all reviewing Queen of the Ring, the wrestling movie? I have not seen it. Have you?
I have not, and I don't know that I'm going to be able to get to it, unfortunately.
Right. I don't think so either. It is busy. Yes. Thank you, Brett Lutholt, for pointing out that I am drinking an Irish Red from our friends at Athletic Brewing Company. This is one of their St. Patrick's Day brews. They've got a couple of them. It's really good. And I'm just trying it for the first time. Look how pretty that can is. It's so beautiful. I am an ambassador for Athletic Brewing Company. In case you guys did not know, they are a non-alcoholic brewing company, and they're great. And they taste like real beer. And this one only has 80 calories so you can be social and go have fun on St. Patrick's Day and hang out and not have a hangover or any kind of regret about the dumb stuff you did the next day. Any dumb stuff you do is your own
That's
responsibility this
right. That's on
time.
you. And if you have the hat with the 2 cans thing in it, you can always lug it around that way.
Yes, I'll put a link down below to my thing with Athletic. My code is ChristyL20, and it gets you 20% off at Athletic Brewing Company. So grab these because whenever they do their specialty ones for different holidays or seasons, they always sell out. They're limited. They don't have them forever. So grab some of this before they do. I don't get paid. They're not a sponsor of us. I get paid in points, which I can then use to get more beer.
Okay.
So enjoy. Yes, Jamie McGee says they have services, a daily wellness call. Also, pacemaker monitoring is an upgrade. Okay.
Oh. So I guess he wasn't at the platinum level then.
Yes. Oh, Victor says whatever your audio and video settings are today, lock those in. Good to know.
Oh, okay.
Because sometimes they don't work, or they're tweaked somehow. I don't know how it is. Mick Lebowski says, nice to see y'all today. Finally back from my slumber. Now that the Oscars are over, I wish the award season was much, much shorter. I feel like this one was shorter too, because the nominations came later because of the fires. And then the ceremony was on March 2nd, which is a lot earlier than it often is.
I guess, but I don't know. I always kind of feel like the award season, I mean, like one could argue it starts at Cannes, but I mean, I think it really digs in when you start hitting like Venice, Toronto, Telluride, and then it just kind of doesn't shut up from that point on. But again, it's about how much, you are forced to pay attention to it, I guess, or be involved. Matt Bullion says, I got to an early screening of Black Bag the other night, and it's a full-on Soderbergh banger. Are you guys going to review that next week? We are.
And how? On Tuesday, even.
Yes.
Early Art House Tuesday for you. I guess when you have Kate Blanchett and Michael Fassbender, it's still Art House Tuesday.
Yeah,
they're
why
big
not?
stars.
It's Focus. It's not Universal. My review is up at thefilmverdict.com if you want to read it. And by the way, if you ever wanted to read my reviews at Film Verdict and you found the whole login thing impenetrable, they got rid of it.
Oh, good.
Very exciting.
So it was never a paywall. It was just like,
No.
hey, what's your email address?
Exactly. But now none of that. It's just there for you to read. So
cool. South by Southwest begins today in Austin, the South by Southwest Film Festival. We have many friends who are there. I used to go to it every year in the early 2000s, back when you could still get a hotel room. It has really exploded since then. You have gone, I know. We've not been at the same time, and we have been there. We didn't see each other.
Were we? Maybe. Yeah. I used to go and cover it, and then I was on the jury one year, which was cool. It was me and our friend Lindsay Barr and Richard Brody of the New Yorker.
Oh.
We had a very good time. And then I don't think I've been since, but yeah, it's definitely, I mean, I remember when it was just music, I covered it once for the Dallas Times Herald in 1989, and it was a much smaller affair than it has become now. Yeah.
R.I.P. Dallas Times Herald.
Indeed.
1991 they folded. 92.
90. It's somewhere in there. Yeah.
Somewhere in there. Yeah. I used to go all the time. I used to cover it. I used to do Q&As and be on panels and juries and all that. So that was really fun. I want to answer a quick question before I continue with this. Where'd it go? Oh, Carl Creighton says, I just watched The Conversation for the first time yesterday on Criterion. So great. The Conversation is probably going to be our Gene Hackman Off the Menu movie for March. It was very far out and ahead in our poll.
So if you want to see that review, patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. We selected like 6 Gene Hackman movies, and that seems to be the clear winner at this point, even though we've still got another day or two of voting.
Yes. But South by Southwest is where they will put out stuff that actually is now kind of potentially awardsy. Like, I don't know that it was ever or is going to be the same kind of award season platform that like Toronto is or Cannes is.
Everything Everywhere premiered there.
That's the thing. That's like, I think it's surprising how it's kind of evolved in that way, but they'll do things that are huge crowd pleasers, big comedies, buzzy indie horror movies. So among the stuff that you're going to get this time is the premiere of Another Simple Favor that is going to be there before it plays on Prime on May 1st. You
The
have
Accountant 2.
The Accountant 2 with Ben Affleck. He will be there for The Accountant 2. So funny. So Tim Grierson and I have a whole running thing about the various permutations of like Bennifer. Any kind of Ben and JLo news, we will always text each other like immediately. So now the news is that apparently Jennifer Lopez is angry that Ben Affleck's been spending more time with Jennifer Garner. That's in page 6, so that you can take
They
that
got
to the
kids,
bank.
right?
They
I mean, come
do.
on.
They have a whole family. They have 3 kids together, but I guess she feels like it's rubbing salt in her wounds. But Ben Affleck will be there to field all your questions about his love life. He loves talking about it.
Maybe he could date John Bernthal and they could be Benthal.
I like that. That'd be fun. That'd be a movie I'd watch. Also playing at South by Southwest, you have Drop with Megan Fahey, who was on season 2 of The White Lotus. That's going to be out in theaters on April 11th. You've got Holland with Nicole Kidman and Matthew McFadden. That is playing. That's going to be on Prime on March 27th, actually. So we should probably review that. And then Odessa, Dessa, with Sadie Sink and Murray Bartlett and Regina Hall. That'll be on Hulu on March 20th. And then they do TV now too at South by Southwest.
Most festivals now have like an episodic. I mean, Sundance even does TV now.
Yeah. So they're going to show, I guess it's the first episode of this new Apple TV Plus show called The Studio.
Yes.
With Seth Rogen, and you get Catherine O'Hara and Catherine Hahn. Is that even allowed in this economy?
In this economy? Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. I do want to see that show. I'm curious about it.
Yeah, maybe we can watch that. So anyway, it's all good, fun, crowd-pleasing stuff. So I don't know if any of that interests you guys. Mick Lebowski says, I'm actually excited for The Accountant too. I just watched The First Accountant again last month in preparation, LOL. And John Poston says, is Holland not at the cinemas? I don't think so. I think it's Prime on March 27th, and that's just the way of the world these days.
I'm a little annoyed that Anna Kendrick is not back for Accountant 2.
She's busy in Another Simple
Very
Favor.
simple, Another Simple Favor, clearly, yes. But
she's busy doing favors for Blake Lively.
Yeah, no, I'm curious about Accountant 2 because the first movie is redonk, but like fun. Like I had a really good time with it. And once I just finally realized this can't make any sense. I'm curious to hear like what like autistic people think about Ben Affleck's performance as, you know, someone who is autistic.
Oh, does he have Asperger's? I don't remember. Is that
that's my recollection of the first movie, that he's like an autistic savant. Am I remembering that wrong?
I don't remember. Our friends will tell us.
Yeah.
Michael Greif says, I'm not sure this is true. I'm not going to repeat this because I'm not sure. Is that true, Michael Greif? Is that what we're learning about Gene Hackman now? I'm not sure we know that.
That sounds like a theory to me.
Yeah. We don't know that. I'm looking at the news. Anyway, so I'm not going to repeat that. More to talk about. Ezra Edelman talking about a topic that we enjoy quite a bit, and that is the state of the modern documentary, especially a music doc. Mick Lebowski says, yes, he is autistic in part 1.
Okay.
You know, he did this 9-hour Prince documentary that then had to get shelved. I mean, the guy who won an Oscar for OJ Made in America, he's very thorough. He's a serious filmmaker, you know, it's journalistic actually. Yeah. And I guess he did this 9-hour film that the Prince estate then said, nope.
Yeah, which, you know, you have to, again, I think we're getting into a new era now where filmmaker deals are going to be like, oh, by the way, you can't then decide that this isn't going to be released.
Yeah.
You cannot decide that Batgirl is going to be written off for taxes. You cannot decide that, oh, no, we changed our mind. You can't release this movie about the thing that we control, you know, like, so yeah, it sucks. And he talked about the thing that you and I get into all the time, which is it's not good for documentaries to have these films that are so reliant upon the cooperation of the subject themselves or the estate of the subject, who control like the footage or the music or the whatever it is that the documentary needs, and thus has this final say. And so you get these very kind of bland, whitewashed, official seal of approval documentaries that don't really dig deep because that's not what the subjects want.
Because they can't, right? And maybe they're entertaining.
Sure,
you know?
they can be.
Right, like Questlove's Sly the Family Stone documentary,
Yeah.
that got a little deeper than most of them do.
That one I think is an exception. Like, that one feels like nobody, like, like Sly Stone was like, "Sure, whatever people wanna say, it's fine." They get into some stuff, as opposed to, like, the Luther Vandross one, which we saw recently, which very much
Right.
felt like it was they were pulling a lot of, not punches, but they were tiptoeing around topics that Luther himself tiptoed around in life, and
Mhm.
that doesn't help anybody.
Right. Yeah, the Diane Warren one is like that. Like you get a lot of access,
Mhm.
which creates the sensation of
Yes.
intimacy or vulnerability or deep
Depth.
truth.
Yeah.
Right, depth. And maybe it's just it's the again, like all social media, it's a carefully curated version of themselves that they want to present to the world. And so he was, decrying that trend in documentary filmmaking. And I kind of don't blame him. I recently watched this new Janice Ian documentary called Janice Ian Breaking Silence. We're going to show it at South Bay Film Society down here in South Bay. And I'm going to interview the director. And she's very candid in it about like, not being out or, thinking that she couldn't come out and
Mhm.
what's up with her vocal cords and what she had to endure, as a teenager writing songs about like the civil rights movement and like topics people didn't want to talk about. And so maybe because she is so no bullshit,
Yeah.
she totally walks the walk. Maybe it's like the subject, him or herself, dictates the level of authenticity.
Yeah, but, like, that it shouldn't you shouldn't be relying upon somebody who is willing to, like, open up about that stuff to get, like, a true, ethically sourced, journalistically challenging documentary about somebody. Either don't do it, or, like, answer the questions and be open to exploring maybe some things that you don't want to talk about. But I think when filmmakers are in thrall, because if they want to make a documentary about this subject, and the subject can either, like, block its production, or at least keep them from, well,
Yeah.
you're not going to get to talk to these people, you're not going to get to use this music or this footage or whatever, then yeah, I think you wind up with these kind of infomercials, and I don't know what the point is.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. I guess what? It's burnishing their legacy.
Yes, of course, and it's, yeah, selling the back catalog,
It's an infomercial,
Yeah.
right? For sure. So, I mean, I'm torn on them because they can be very entertaining, and if it exposes a whole new generation of people who never would have known about whoever the
Sure.
subject is, and that's great.
The Dionne Warwick one, it's like, yes, go listen to her music, she's great, but you're not gonna come away with that documentary with a completely fully dimensional idea of who she is, because she's, running the show.
Yeah. Seth points out there's a new Errol Morris doc on Netflix about Charles Manson.
I just heard about that, yeah.
I was going to mention that to you. Maybe that's something we might want to consider
Maybe,
pondering.
yeah.
So,
Th this is a separate issue entirely, but I did read about yesterday that there's a three-part miniseries about the Oklahoma City bombings coming to Hulu. It's a National Geographic doc.
so let's think. What year was that? I was still in Dallas.
95.
95. Okay. So,
It's
okay.
my
So
first
30
year at the film
years.
festival.
Right. So we're 30 years then.
Yeah.
Right. For sure. Interesting. Yes. I want to mention a couple other things real fast. The trailer is out for John Mulaney's new live talk show series. We loved Everybody's in LA, which was this really cool experimental live talk show that he did every night, like 6 nights out of 8 or whatever, during the Netflix is a Joke comedy festival here in LA.
Right.
And like things might go wrong and they took phone calls and they did funny little bits and every episode was a different topic about Los Angeles, whether it's earthquakes or palm trees or whatever. So it was such a huge phenomenon, such a huge hit
And
that
you'd have, like,
Netflix,
experts and scientists on the couch next to, like, Martin
Pete
Scorsese or
Davidson,
whatever.
Pete
Pete Davidson.
Davidson and
Yeah.
Bill Hader cracking each other up, It was really fun. And he had this feeling of like anything could happen and this could all fall apart at any second. And it's riveting. And he's
Yeah.
so likable. So it was a huge hit that they're now doing a thing called Everybody's Live. And it's going to begin March 12th on Netflix. So that's this next Wednesday. I guess it's going
Yeah.
to be on Wednesdays. The trailer is out for that, and the trailer is very much in the spirit of the this could all fall apart any moment kind of energy of the show. So I'd love to. I don't know. I'm definitely going to watch it. I don't know if there's any way
Sure.
to like write about it or talk about it, but is that something that's just you guys? Alonzo, are you going to watch it?
I plan to. Yeah, I liked it a lot, and even if I miss it live, it'll be sitting there on Netflix. But it's what 7 o'clock Pacific, right, on Wednesdays? Is that the deal? 10 o'clock
Yeah.
Eastern. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just curious to know, how that goes. Our friend Brent Luthold mentions that my
Yep.
dead friend Zoe is out there, and that's really good. Do you know what this is?
Vaguely, you reviewed it, right?
I reviewed it, and it is great. And it is a really tricky balance that it finds. It is a buddy comedy about PTSD. And the director, based on his own experiences of being in the army and losing friends to suicide once they came back home and had a
Oh
hard time
wow.
readjusting. And it's this whole thing where Natalie Morales is actually dead the whole time. This is
Huh.
not a spoiler.
Okay. Yeah,
This is
it
obvious
premiered
from the
at,
very beginning.
it premiered at South by Southwest last year.
Did it? It's
Yeah.
great. Like the tone it finds, like Sonequa Martin Green, who stars in it, is a freaking star. She is so good. I never
Cool.
watched The Walking Dead. She was on that.
I watched the first chunk of Fear the Walking Dead, but I
Okay.
never saw the OG show.
Yeah, because she's got to pull off just this really tricky balance of being like kind of closed off, but also engaged with the world through Nellie Morales. Nellie Morales is hugely charismatic as this like shit stirrer, trying to force her out of her funk. It's great. Morgan Freeman's in it, and Harris is in it. It's like
Wow.
it shouldn't work. It sounds like it wouldn't work. It sounds like it'd be totally mawkish. Yeah, Matt Bullions points out my dead friend Zoe is fantastic. Kind of baffling that it works as effectively as it does. It's great. Anyway, so
Okay.
that is out there.
Cool.
It's a good movie. And then I want to mention one last thing. Steve Carell is paying for hundreds of Pasadena high school seniors to go to the prom.
Oh, that's great.
It's really lovely, yeah. So that whole area is one of the 2 in Los Angeles that were really devastated by the wildfires
Right.
that happened a couple months ago here. So it's like 6 different high schools, like 800 kids total, do not have to worry about buying prom tickets, which can be expensive, on top
Yeah.
of like getting a dress and a limo and
Tuxedo
all
rental.
the stress, getting a boutonniere. Do the kids still do corsages and boutonnieres?
I have no idea. They do those damn promposals, which I'm so glad was not a thing when I was in high school.
I'm just glad that Instagram did not exist at all when I was in high school or college
Right?
for a variety of reasons, but that is
Uh-huh.
one of them. Oh, Teddy
Yeah.
KGB points out that Sonequa Martin Green was also on the bridge of the Enterprise. Yeah, she was in Star Trek Discovery. She's
Oh,
one of the
okay.
stars of that show too. Anyway, she's
Cool.
great. So yeah, so that's really cool, and that's
Yeah.
a cool way to support these kids who are still trying to figure out how to do what they do. We've had a couple of kids from Palisades High School come down to where my son goes to
Oh,
high
wow. Okay.
school and run track there. And because for some of them, it's like it's their junior year and it's really important as far as college and all that.
Of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that is good. Hugh Nguyen says, what do you think about Osgood Perkins saying he'd never work with Amazon to make a Bond movie? Does Amazon MGM have that bad of a reputation?
Yes. Yeah, no, there was a whole piece today about like filmmakers are being very cagey about working with Amazon because they have proven themselves to not be like the most artist creator friendly. Although I have to say, like, I think there are subdivisions in there, like, they're the new Orion label, gave us stuff like Bottoms.
Yeah.
I think there are people who can work sort of in that system. But as far as like, yeah, something as high profile as that, where I'm sure they can't keep their fingers out of it. He's not wrong, I'm sure.
And I think probably this is the kind of thing like where you're at a red carpet or where you're at a junket and people ask, would you do a Star Wars? Would you do a Marvel? And then that quote gets plucked out. And it's so and so says he'd never do such and such.
Sure.
And it's totally inorganic. So
Yeah, no, and I've unfortunately asked that question before, but sometimes you get an interesting answer out of it. And I think, Perkins, as you have discovered, having done a Q&A with him, like, shoots from the hip. So,
Yes, he's an odd dude. He is very much his own person, and says what he wants to say and does not care what anyone thinks. So I kind of don't think he needs to do a Bond movie. He's got a brand. He can do whatever he wants. So
yeah.
Anyway,
Totally.
so good seeing you guys. We're going to take off. We will be back on, later on today. Keep an eye out for Mickey 17.
Yes.
Over at our Patreon, we are recapping Daredevil Born Again.
Yes.
So the first 2 episodes are out there on Disney Plus, and we just did a quick little recap of those. So you will see those if you're a member of our Patreon. The conversation, of course, is our Gene Hackman movie. If you're a member of our Patreon, you will see a review of that very soon in the next couple of weeks.
Unless there's a tidal wave of votes for the Royal Tenenbaums or something, it's probably going to be the conversation. Yes.
I thought it'd be closer.
Me too. I was thinking neck and neck, but within a couple of days, it was like, nope, we're all on Team Francis. I'm like, great, it's a great movie, and I'm excited for you to see it. So
yes, I have never seen it, so I'm excited about that too. And then we are doing White Lotus on Tuesdays on our Patreon. We are going to start doing The Last of Us season 2 when White Lotus is done. We're going to start doing Andor season 2, and we're going to do The Handmaid's Tale.
Final season,
sixth and final season of The Handmaid's Tale is coming out soon. So. So good to see you all. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Angel Miklobowski. Ed Looney, despise the monkey. Sorry to hear that. I thought it was fun.
Me too.
Have a great weekend, Christine and Matt. And thanks for all you do. Thanks for being here and subscribing and being our friends and just being lovely in general. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend. Bye.
See you soon. Bye.